गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यशोदानंदन व्रजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद यद्वैता गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद यद्वैता गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा जय राधा मुरलीधर राधा मुरलीधर राधा जय राधा रमण राधा रमण राधा जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा जय राधा चंद्र कृष्ण राधा चंद्र कृष्ण राधा जय राधा विनोद राधा विनोद राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बल जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन जय गौरनिता जय गौरनिता गौरनिता जय गौर जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भवातु मे जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भवातु मे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिता जय गौरनिता गौरनिता जय गौर जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. इस जीवन के सभी चरण भक्ति धाम श्री प्रपात महाराज की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापक का श्री प्रपात महाराज की जय। कृष्ण को श्री प्रपात महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्री प्रपात महाराज की जय। या ओम विष्णुपाद परम सुपुरस्कार स्तोत्र सदा समस्त हिज जीवन भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। कोटि आचार्य वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीहरि ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय। गंगमय माय की जय। तुलसी देव भक्ति देव की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रपाठ बुद्ध की जय। All glories to assembled deities. All glories to assembled deities. All glories to assembled deities. All glories to all glories Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Shrine Ekadasi Mahotsav ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So welcome to all devotees for today's Bhagavatam session.
Hare Krishna.
Nityam
Prabhu,
Bhagavata
you want
Sevaya.
us to share the screen for today? Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Ha?
You want us to share the screen?
Yes. Please share the screen.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure. Rohini Mataji will share the screen. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So I'll begin with the prayer. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Subhadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shruta Padakabalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Dev Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वांछा कल्पतरुष कृपा सिंधुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवयं भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from the third canto, 28th chapter, and we'll cover 11 to 15 today. Shloka number 11. Pranayamar dahed doshan dharanabhischa kilbishan pratyaharena samsargan dhyayan dhyayanen ishwaran gunan dhyayanena ishwaran gunan pranayamar dahed doshan धारणाभीश्च किल्बिषान् प्रत्याहारेण संसर्गान् ध्यायानेनीश्वरान् गुणान् प्राणायामैर्दहेत् दोषान् धारणाभीश्च किल्बिषान् प्रत्याहारेण संसर्गान् ध्यानानीश्वरान् गुणान् ध्यानेन ईश्वरान् गुणान्। Krishna. So word by word meaning. Pranayama hai, by practice of pranayama, dahet, one can eradicate doshan, contamination, dharana abhi, by concentrating the mind, cha, and kilvishan, sinful activities, pratyaharena, by restraining the senses, samsargan, material association, dhyaye, dhyane yena, meditate by meditating, anishwaran, gunan, the modes of material nature. Translation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By practicing the process of pranayama, one can eradicate the contamination of his physiological condition And by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from material association. And by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from the three modes of material attachment. Krishna, so the devotee can read the purport. 2 paragraphs are there.
Hare Krishna. Divya Gopu Mataji, you read the first para, and Archana Mataji can read the second para. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu, pranams.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to Ayurvedic medical science, the three items, kapha, pitta, and vayu, phlegm, bile, and air, maintain the physiological condition of the body. Modern medical science does not accept this physiological analysis as valid, but the ancient Ayurvedic process of treatment is based upon these items. Ayurvedic treatment concerns itself with the cause of these three elements, which are mentioned in many places in the Bhagavatam as the basic conditions of the body. Here it is recommended that by practicing the breathing process of pranayama, one can be released from contamination created by the principal physiological elements. By concentrating the mind, one can become free from sinful activities, and by withdrawing the senses, one can free himself from material association. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ultimately, one has to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to be elevated to the transcendental position where he is no longer affected by the three modes of material nature. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that one who engages himself in unalloyed devotional service at once becomes transcendental to the three modes of material nature and immediately realizes his identification with Brahman. Sagunan Samadhitaitan Brahma Bhoyaya Kalpade. For every item in the yoga system, there is a parallel activity in Bhakti Yoga. But the practice of Bhakti Yoga is easier for this age. What was introduced by Lord Chaitanya is not a new interpretation. Bhakti Yoga is a feasible process that begins with chanting and hearing. Bhakti Yoga and other yogas have as their ultimate goal the same personality of Godhead. But one is practical and the others are difficult. One has to purify his physiological condition by concentration and by restraint of the senses. Then he can fix his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called Samadhi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Om Agnan Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmittamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are in this chapter 28, which is entitled as the practical instructions on execution of the devotional service. So as we understand that Kapil Muni, who is the expansion of the Lord, one of the empowered devotees of the Lord, and then he had to appear and he had to give to Devahuti, that is his mother, and to the general people the principles of Bhakti Yoga. And this way he is also giving us the real knowledge, what is required through the agency of Devahuti. And this has happened at the beginning of the creation itself. So we can understand how much deep and how much it will be a very strong advice for the practitioners. So in the 25th chapter, Kapil Muni gave us the glories of devotional service. That was the title of that chapter. Then he went into the material nature. What is that material nature made of? What are the principles of material nature? How these are formed, the interlink between the material nature. Then how to understand the material nature. That is the 27th. And 28th was now is coming on the practical execution of the devotional service, because one by one Devati Mataji is asking the questions as to how do I understand the relationship with the Lord, how do I understand what is that practically what I have to do in the Abhideya, and what is the benefit by doing all these things, the Prayojana. So Sambandha Gnana, the Abhideya Gnana, and the Prayojana Gnana. So like that, she is asking one by one, step by step. And here we come across this execution, how to execute this devotion, what is the practical hints in which we have to do it. And then in 29th and 30th, also plus it goes on actually 32, and then up to 32 is about the instructions itself. So in the 29th, he tells about the again explanation of the devotional service, which more stress on Bhakti Yoga. Then 30th and 31st will talk about if you do Karma Yoga or fruitive activities, what is how adverse effect it will have. So then also the entanglement, how much we get into this by doing. And also in the 32nd chapter, 31 rather, it talks about the movement of the living entity right from its taking birth, how it is in the womb, how it suffers in the womb, and what all promises it makes in the womb, how it is prayer in a prayerful mode, it wants to come out of that mother's womb, and then it is because it's like a hellish, worse than hellish condition, Bhagavatam says, like that. And then once it comes out, then again it gets attracted to the material world. So like this, and then in the 32nd chapter, it again gets entangled in the fruitive activities. So like this, step by step, we understand the various aspects of this nature, and then as a living entity, how he undergoes the entire ecosystem, and what it actually needs to do. So in this practical instructions, so in the second shloka, it is mentioned very clearly that one should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of a spiritual master. So this is just the beginning, as we understand that taking diksha, taking the initiation, and taking the shelter of a spiritual master is very important. And with this, we can start our journey. So like that. And then one should cease performing conventional regional practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. Salvation in the sense, not just mukti, but it is actually the higher than the mukti, which is the bhakti, which will take you to the eternal world, and your engagement is also eternal. So that is so should not get attracted to this karma yoga or karmic or mishra, karma mishra bhakti or jnana mishra bhakti. So many mishras are there, means which is interlinked or which is mixed with different practices of your yogas. So it should be, what should be done is a pure devotional service. The bhakti yoga should be unadulterated and unmotivated. So that should be the thing. And then one should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. So here, a lot of stress is given on to be, frugal, eat very less, and then, remain secluded, and they should not get attached to all these material comforts and things like that. But we have to understand that this was at that point of time when it was actually the beginning of the Satyuga, or beginning of the creation itself, and it is all full in the mode of goodness. And at that point of time, not many distractions were there. People were all 99%, 100%, they were all in the mode of goodness. So it's easy for them to practice, easy for them to do bhakti yoga and do the personal worship of the Lord, all these things. But as things have progressed, so many millions and millions of years are taking place, and again we are now coming into this 51st year of Brahma, and in that 51st year, we are in the Kali Yuga. So things are not so rosy and not so sattvic as it was. Now we can understand that it is contaminated. Every step, every moment, we find it difficult to concentrate, difficult to get a secluded place, because so much of the family bondage is there, and requirement for money, requirement for so many facilities, comforts. We cannot We cannot live a very austere life. The Lord is telling to be so austere. You should abstain from sex life, perform austerity, be clean, study the Vedas, worship the supreme form of the personality of Godhead. You should practice non-violence, truthfulness, should avoid thieving, and be satisfied with possessing as much as he needs for his maintenance. So here also the same thing, as much as he needs, we should possess that much, and you should be content with what you have. So this is being stressed. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by grace of God. So all this in the 2, 3, and 4 shlokas in the beginning of the chapter, this is being mentioned, and study Vedas. So like this. So it is a very, 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 very highest standard which is being observed here, or which is being advised here. But then for us, conditioned life and this Kali Yuga atmosphere, it may be very difficult. And finally, Kapil Dev is talking about the Dhyana Yoga, where we have to control our mind by breathing process. And so this way, Jnana Yoga is actually not stressed here. Jnana is about study of the scriptures and deep study and analysis of this of the scriptures. So all these things, that is not being mentioned here. So straight away, he is coming to the Dhyana Yoga and how to do the Dhyana. So it includes the Ashtanga Yoga, so many other different forms of yoga when it comes to the yogic postures, from where people can attain siddhis. Siddhis means perfections. So here the next 4-5 shlokas is all talking about how to control the mind, how to do this Dhyana Yoga, and what is that the person has to do. So in the 9th shloka, it is mentioned, in the 8th and 9th, it is mentioned that after controlling one's mind and sitting postures, one should spread a seat in a secluded and sanctified place, sit there in easy posture, keeping the body erect, and practice breath control. So this would be possible when people in those ages living in the forest, where people used to go and then do the Dhyana Yoga. So where there is not much disturbance. And the classic example of even of for this purpose, who went, great devotee of the Lord, and who went, who had all the possessions in his control, who had all the riches. He was a king, he was a Chakravarti, and despite that, when he renounced everything, and then he went to the forest to do this penances and austerities and tapasya, but actually he failed. There are so many instances. One was, classic example was about Bharata, Bharata Muni, Bharata Raja, Raja Bharat. So he was such a great emperor. He had all the facilities and comforts, and he had all that what emperor was, success, all that success he had, and he could have comfortably, he could have lived his life. He was already a devotee of the Lord, so there's not much he could have lost anything. But despite that, he thought that no, this is not, I have to still do, which is more higher, serious practices. So let me go to the forest. And then he renounced it. Overnight, he renounced it. And he took the advice of the Guru and went to the forest to do Bhakti Yoga, to do the Dhyana Yoga. And of course, Dhyana Yoga ultimately leading to the Bhakti Yoga in a very more austere way. So he went to that forest. And as he went to the forest, initially everything was fine, it was good. But again, the Maya's attraction, even in the forest, it will not live. A devotee, forest or non-forest, or in the city or in a town, wherever Maya is already there, all the time it is there, and it is just going to distract the living entity. So he saw that one day while he was paying his oblations, and he saw that a deer, a mother deer, was being attacked by a tiger, and that mother deer was actually pregnant, and then it was running here and there, and then finally the tiger was about to catch and then kill it. By that time, this deer jumped into the it wanted to cross the valley, a small valley, and then it fell into the river. And then also, while it was leaping out, the pregnant mother gave birth also. I mean, that baby had fallen on, luckily, onto the grass, to the shore, onto the sides of the banks of that place, and then it was saved. And then looking at that instance, he saw how cruel this tiger is. Oh, what a pity that this deer, such a nice deer, such a pious deer, which is not doing any harm, and then it became a victim, it became a prey, and it died, whereas the baby was there, the baby deer was saved. And then so he came into the mode of compassion. He came completely, his heart was melted, and then he wanted to save that deer. So he took that deer and then brought it back to his hermitage, and then he started treating it, because the moment he started, he took association of that deer, the baby, immediately he got into the modes of mental nature. All that modes of goodness started acting on him, and then he completely neglected his spiritual practices, what he's supposed to do. He started taking it, because as a baby, it needs a lot of care. Yeah, he started feeding the deer, bathing it, dressing it. So like that, every moment he was, thinking about the deer, and he was worried. Oh, where the deer is going here and there, if it gets again become a prey to some other wild animal. So like that, he's trying to protect the deer, and that he completely got attached. So this is what sadhu sangha, or a sangha, or a association with any metal object or a living entity will land you in trouble. So any association. So that's why we always suggest sadhu sangha, or devotees. Sangha of the devotees is important. If you don't do that, then so he got attached, and then finally, when his life span was ending, when he became aged, and then he was always thinking of the deer. So he ultimately, while his death occurred, he thought of the deer, and then next life he became a deer. So this is the reality. So that's why, even by trying to do these kinds of austerities and doing a different process, you might land into trouble. What is that missing line? The missing link was that he forgot Krishna. He forgot worshipping Krishna. He could not keep Krishna at the center. He did not do his activities, sadhana, on a daily basis. And then there was some lack of principles. And in spite of wanted to advance, he actually took a downward path. So like this, we understand that however we try to do, we'll be distracted by these three modes of nature. So we have to understand what is that, the real yoga, or the real practice, bhakti yoga, what we are supposed to do, and then follow it very judiciously. If we even slightly falter, or if we deviate, gone case. We'll just simply fall down. So as in the 10th sloka, the previous sloka, it says, the yogis who practice as breathing are very soon freed from all mental disturbances, just as gold, when put into fire and fanned with air, becomes free from all impurities. So this is the standard, what is expecting, that you have to free from all mental disturbances. So is it possible for us to be freed in this situation? No. We are all living in the cities, getting bombarded with so much of Maya, so Shaktis, that it is impossible. Then the 11th shloka, which we spoke about today, is by practicing the process of pranayama, one can eradicate the contamination of physiological condition. Concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from material association. By meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from three modes of material attachment. So here, the pranayama is being stressed, where the breathing, the pranavayu, or the living soul itself is concentrated, and then it can move around in the body in such a way that ultimately, when doing the pranayama, there are 8 stages also, and in that 8 stages, it comes to the main chakra, on the head, the Brahma chakra, and from there the soul has to leave the body. So that is the process. And the beginning stage is that you have to do the first of all, come to the dhyana stage. So that is mentioned in the Ashtanga Yoga. So in this stage, first of all, the first is the yama, and then niyama, then asana, then pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So these are the 8 steps of the Ashtanga Yoga. So first, yama means, first of all, you have to you have to control your senses or follow the regulative principles. Then, like no meat eating or all the 4 regulative principles, and not getting attached to the materialistic life. And then niyama, then again you have to follow certain principles, restrictive principles. One is on the positive side and another on the negative, or what you have to be abstaining from. So niyama. And then asana, take an asana, sit on that asana, sit comfortably. So then pranayama, that is the breathing, the life source is being, you can move around the life source in the body, and that much you should concentrate. And it touches all the chakras, and it invigorates, and it empowers those chakras in the body. Then the pratyahara, then again, you have to completely withdraw from the senses. Then dharana, where you focus on the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Then dhyana, the final concentration. Then samadhi. So like this, it's all very, very, very tough aspects of Ashtanga Yoga. And in our limited capacity, we cannot do. So better we don't try it. As Prabhupada says, people say that they go to so many yoga classes, so many yoga. In the 70s itself, he was telling that in America there are so many yoga centers, and people want to do the yoga. They go to the yoga class for a few minutes, they will do yoga. After that, they'll be sleeping, they'll be snoring, and they will sleep. They cannot concentrate. They cannot do this. It is impossible physically. So then finally they will do something else, and then they just wind up. It's not possible. So here in this shloka, the 3 aspects are being mentioned. One is that by restraining the senses, you can be free from one can free from material association. So senses and material association is linked. And then before that, by concentrating the mind, one can become free from sinful activities. Yeah, because you're concentrating the mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, and and mentally you are completely in his focus and in attention, you will not do any sinful activity. So that is quite clear, because your focus is on dhyana. So you will not tend to do these sinful activities. So that way. And then restraining the senses. So concentrating the mind is, you will not do sinful activity. Restraining the senses, you can be free from material association. So you will not go and interact with so many people, because your senses are in control. You're not diverting it to different places. And then third one is meditating by mind concentration onto the Supreme Lord. You can be free from modes of material attachment also. So like this, the pranayama has to be practiced. Of course, all these things what we are talking of is still on the bodily platform. There is an element of the spiritual association also, if we keep it on a spiritual level. I mean, if we concentrate on the Supreme Lord Krishna and think of his pastimes, or do the dhyana to attain his appease him by doing this dhyana yoga, and completely absorbed in his thoughts, then it will be fruitful. But if you are doing some other demigod worship, or some other or worshipping on the sun god, or concentrating on something else, and you are missing the real Supreme Personality of Godhead, and trying to do on different, because today so many people do yoga, and when they concentrate so many things, Om, or they could be saying Omkara, or they could be saying the Brahma Jyoti. Like this, different people are having different concepts, and they will get bewildered. But if somebody is doing perfectly on a Krishna conscious level, Krishna conscious practice, for them definitely there is a hope that they will get self-realization, and they can attain the success in their life. But unfortunately, it is not so easy. It is very, very difficult. So Prabhupada mentions about that Ayurveda, that there are 3 items: kapha, pitta, and vayu, phlegm, bile, and air. If these 3 or the controlling elements in our body. If these three are kept in check, and if they're all maintained at the required level, then our life will be physiologically, our bodily condition will be perfect. So kapha is to do with the water, pitta is with the heat, and vayu is with the air. So if any of these things are affected, then our body cycle will also get affected. But of course, today's doctors, they don't accept these things, and then they will give their own English medicine. Whereas Ayurveda has been treating only these three elements and then giving the result. So, which is again mentioned in the Bhagavatam, as Prabhupada says, and Prabhupada also mentions that how these three elements, what we discussed now, that by doing pranayama, we can definitely control. But how much time you can concentrate, how much time, whether in the 24 hours, how much time you can do this dhyana, how much time you can be God realized, is the question mark. Ultimately, one has to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead not to be elevated to the transcendental position where he is no longer affected by three modes of nature. So that is again confirmed in the Shloka 14.26, where Sagunan Samatitatan. So the Shloka is the Mamcha Avyabhicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatitana Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So what is the principle here? Krishna is telling Mamcha Avyabhicharena, without any deviation, without any ulterior motive. If you do the Nishkama Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, to me, Bhakti Yogena Sevate, Bhakti Yoga, if you do, then you can come out, Sagunan Samatitatan, you can overcome, you can transcend these three modes, and then be in the real Vasudeva Sattva, or the Vishuddha Sattva, or the real Krishna consciousness. So even if you are doing in the mode of goodness, if you try to do chant, or if you try to do any worship in the mode of goodness, that also will not be helpful. We should be actually above that. That is possible only with Krishna's service to Krishna. Many people think that Bhakti Yoga can be done for even demigods and and all other demigods or Devi Devatas. But that is all and will all be under the mode of goodness, Sattva-guna, and then there will be expectation of a result. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, we are not actually expecting any result. We are leaving everything in the hands of Krishna. Everything Krishnarpana Vastu, surrendering to Krishna, and then allowing Krishna to give us the required result. Agree for that concept. They don't want to renounce anything. They don't want to give up anything. They all want the best of enjoyment. They want to treat their senses. So that way they will get entangled. Whereas a Krishna conscious devotee wants to come out of the entanglement. So Bhakti Yoga and other yogas have as their ultimate goal the personality of Godhead. But one is practical, others are difficult. So even Bhagavatam 12.5 says that how impersonal worship is so difficult. Somebody is
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, your voice is going away in between. We are unable to hear you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think Prabhu has dropped out.
Vyakta means manifested of the personal form. Avyakta Sakta is most of Mayavadis or those people who are doing the impersonal worship, the Shaktas. So these people who do treating Lord as the impersonal form, for them, Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. It is this Avyakta stage is it will lead to dukkha because they cannot achieve that. They cannot make progress, and they will definitely be put into difficult conditions. And because this process of impersonal worship is very, very difficult, then they have abdir avapyate. So it will be if they are attached to that, the progress is very difficult for those who are embodied in this impersonal form. So That's why the personal form of worship is recommended. Prabhupada always mentioned that we should be doing the personal form and not the impersonal form. So this is the Brahman realization. In Brahman realization, they do this impersonal form of the Lord. Whereas we, as devotees, bhaktas, we want to do the personal form of the Lord, and that way we want to worship the Lord and then treat him in that as a person. So that process, Bhakti Yoga, is considered the most perfect. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratma atmana shraddhavan bhajate yoman.
Samayuktamo matah.
Samayuktamo matah. So that is the shloka, and the 6th chapter, 46. It says that this is the most perfect yoga, which is the Bhakti Yoga. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. Otherwise, any other forms you try to do will not be helpful. So Prabhupada finally says one has to purify his physiological condition by concentration and by restraint of the senses. Then he can fix a mind upon Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called samadhi. So Prabhupada is telling that what is mentioned here, the restraining of the senses, controlling the mind, or concentrating the mind, meditating, all that you do to Krishna without any strings attached. So then it becomes a Bhakti Yoga, and then it will lead us to the perfect result. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the 12th shloka. Somebody can read the shloka and the translation, and somebody can read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Vrishbhanu Mataji, you can read the shloka, Sharmila Mataji translation, and Padma Mataji the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Yada manaha swam virajam yogena susamahitam ashtam bhagavato dhyayetsva nasagra avalokanaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the mind is perfectly purified by this practice of yoga, one should concentrate on the tip of the nose with half-closed eyes and see the form of the Supreme Personality of God. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is clearly mentioned here that one has to meditate upon the expansion of Vishnu. The word Shatam refers to Paramatma, the expansion of the vision of Vishnu. Bhagavata refers to Lord Vishnu. Sorry, Prabhu. Shatam. No, Shatam. Yeah. The word Shatam refers to Paramatma, the expansion of the expansion of Vishnu. Bhagavata refers to Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Godhead is Krishna. From him comes the first expansion, Baladeva, and from Baladeva comes Sankarshana, Aniruddha, many other forms followed by the Purusha avatars. As mentioned in the previous verses, Purusha Charam. This Purusha is represented as Paramatma or Supersoul. A description of the Supersoul upon whom one must meditate will be given in the following verses. In this verse, it's clearly stated that one must meditate by fixing his vision on the tip of the nose and concentrating one's mind on the Kala or the plenary expansion of Vishnu. Thank you. Yeah,
That is Kala.
Yeah, sorry. One's mind on the Kala or the plenary expansion of Vishnu. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Krishna. So here we are again coming back to the Dhyana Yoga, and very specifically it is this realization. When you do the Dhyana Yoga, you will get Paramatma realization. In the impersonalist, when they do the Brahma Jyoti, or that's called the Brahman realization. For the devotees, it will be the personal form, which is the Bhakti Yoga. So like that, it is being 3 aspects are there, the 3 sorts of realization. And here, particularly, this realization is talking about the Paramatma realization. So that's why, and then it is mentioned here, when you're doing this yoga, the Dhyana Yoga, how you should concentrate, that you should open half eyes closed. Your eyes should be half closed and see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and you should hold that for hours together, or for days together, or months together, or years together. So which is going to be, and probably you have to completely restrain from your senses. No intake of food or no intake of water or nothing. Just simply do the dhyana. So this is something which is of a very, very high order, and devotees should not attempt this. This is not possible also, and we should not. So that's why Prabhupada, as I said, that people try to do this kind of a concentration and then try to do that dhyana, and they will sleep off. That's the maximum that they can do. So
It's mostly for yogis, no?
Yeah, mystic yogi. Yeah,
this yogis, yeah, mystic yogis.
Yeah, the mystic people. They want to achieve some siddhi, so that is also there. Because Ashtanga Yoga is all about achieving siddhis. But nevertheless, if they concentrate on the Supreme Personality of the Lord, then they can have the Paramatma realization, where they can only see the form. Correct? In the impersonal form, the Brahman realization, they can only see the light or the effulgence or something, which is there. That is just the truth. The Sat is there. And in the Paramatma form, the form is visible. Okay, there's some form, but you're still not understanding the real, what the form consists. Who is that person? That can happen only when you have the Bhakti Yoga or the Bhagavan realization. You can know exactly who is Bhagavan, what are his activities, how he performs his daily activities, everything, his opulences, everything will come to know in this Bhagavan realization. So like that. And then here Prabhupada is mentioned about the Kashtam, refers to Paramatma, expansion of the Vishnu. Bhagavataha refers to Lord Vishnu. And of course, everything is coming from Krishna. And all these Kala and the expansions, the avatars, are all coming from Krishna. That we have to understand. I mean, that we also is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is also mentioned in the Bhagavatam also. Like we have so many avatars, the Lila avatara, Purusha avatara, then Guna avatara, like that, many avatara. And then Purusha avatara, when it comes, it is actually the 3 Purusha avataras, which are the Karanodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So these are the 3 Purushas. So like that, all these who are trying to concentrate and then doing this dhyana yoga will only be achieving the Paramatma realization, the super soul, which actually super soul is residing in our heart. And so that is the understanding. But if suppose they have any other concept of Supreme Personality of Godhead or any other form of demigod or something like that, then their purpose is defeated. Then it will not be serving their purpose. So here the concentration and then the vision on the tip of the nose is very important. And the same thing is mentioned even in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter also, where we come across the dhyana yoga. And even there it is mentioned about these practices, like shloka number 11 and 12. To practice yoga, one should go to secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground, then cover it with deer skin and soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low, should sit it in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it firmly and practice yoga to purify his heart by controlling his mind, senses and activities. So mind, senses, activities, and fixing the mind on one point. So like this, it just goes on like this. And finally, Lord concludes in that Yoginamapi Sarvesham in the 6th chapter. So like that, this is ultimately not going to be very easy. It's going to be very tough. So Lord will not advise him that you take up this practice. Even Kapil Dev is also, although he's giving it for the information of the general public, but ultimately he tells what is the Bhakti Yoga is most important. That already we discussed in the 25th chapter, that varieties of places, in various places is given how Bhakti Yoga is superior. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the 13th shloka.
Hare Krishna. Anita Mataji, you can do the shloka. Sudha Mataji translation and Prashanti Mataji purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. प्रसन्नवदनाम्भोजं पद्मगर्भारुणेक्षणं नीलोत्पलदलश्यामं शङ्खचक्रगदाधरम्.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful lotus-like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a corn, discus and mace in 3 of his hands. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Purport by
Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. It is definitely recommended herein that one concentrate his mind upon the form of Vishnu. There are 12 different forms of Vishnu, which are described in teachings of Lord Chaitanya. One cannot concentrate his mind on anything void or personal, impersonal. The mind should be fixed on the personal form of the Lord, whose attitude is cheerful, as described in these words. Bhagavad Gita states that the meditation on the impersonal or void features is very troublesome to the meditator. Those who are attached to the impersonal or void features of meditation have to undergo a difficult process because we are not accustomed to concentrating our minds upon anything impersonal. Actually, such concentration is not even possible. Bhagavad Gita also confirms that one should concentrate his mind on the personality of Godhead. The color of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described here as Nilotpala Dala, meaning that it is like the lotus, that of a lotus flower with petals tinted blue and white. People always ask why Krishna is blue. The color of the Lord has not been imagined by an artist. It is described in authoritative scripture. In the Brahma Samhita also, the color of Krishna's body is compared to that of a bluish cloud. The color of the Lord is not poetical imagination. They are authoritative descriptions in the Brahma Samhita, Shrimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and many of the Puranas of the Lord's body, his weapons, and all other paraphernalia. The Lord's appearance is described here as Padma Garbha Garbhanureka Rekshanam. His
Yes.
eyes resemble the inside of a lotus flower, and in his 4 hands he holds the 4 symbols: conch shell, discus, mace, and lotus. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pranams.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So here the Paramatma. So now the Paramatma, who is the Paramatma? Whom should we concentrate? That is, he is mentioning that like Krishna, how he's having a cheerful, always mandasmita, and then lotus-like. Everything related to Krishna is about compared to the lotus. Padmanabha, then Arvindaksha, then Kamala Lochana. So Kamala, Padma, all these things, Aravinda, all these things are related to Krishna. His eyes are like lotus, his navel is like lotus, and his face is like a lotus. Different what is there in Sanskrit, the synonyms are all used for Nilotpala. So that is also, and then it is like the eyes are like the ruddy eyes, like the interior of a lotus, and swarthy body. Swarthy means very little dark or little dark is the meaning in English. Like the petals of the blue lotus. The blue cannot be, may not be the dark blue lotus. It could be something light lotus. Generally, we see that lotus in the form of light blue color. Then he bears the conch, disc, and discus, and the mace in the 3 of his hands. So here, so that form of Prabhupada is mentioning, that form of Vishnu has to be concentrated and it should be meditated upon. And there are 12 forms of Vishnu. So here it's mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitam, teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So actually 24, there are 24 names of Krishna, and in the 24 names which we do when we do the Achmana, we recite those names. In that the first 12 are also prominent, and this the moment we say Keshvaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, the positions of the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma are in different places. So depending upon the position of these 4 objects, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, his name is also is mentioned. So like for example, Keshava means Padma on the right hand, Shankha on the left hand, and then Chakra again on the right hand, Gada on the left hand. So like this is the position it should be. Narayana, Keshava, Narayana. Narayana means it comes Shankha, Padma, Gada, Chakra. The order changes. Madhava, Gada, Chakra, Shankha, Padma. Govinda, Chakra, Gada, Padma, Shankha. So like this, different permutations and combinations are mentioned. So the first 12 are this Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Matsudana, Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. So like that.
Those 12 things which you put in the body, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, we put the 12 tilakams. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
you're right.
Those are the first 12.
Yeah, the first 12. So like that, of course, the form of the Lord, like Damodara, if we say, he has got a different form, but and again the position of these his weapons and this paraphernalia also changes. So that is the understanding. It's all very technical, but this is how we get to understand that these are the forms. And so as Prabhupada, as we discussed, that if you are considering on the impersonal form, this is very troublesome. It is not possible. You cannot think of something void, and people who do that will be a difficult process and they will fail ultimately. So that's not waste our time on that. And then color of the Lord also is mentioned here as like bluish. I mean, he's told Krishna is known as Shama Sundar. Shama means which is little darker, or the night, the typical early night stage, the Shama color. And then Krishna himself, the Krishna color, the Krishna in Sanskrit itself means dark. So apart from the Akarshana characteristics, which is full of attraction, Krishna also means dark. So like that, there are so many names, Acharyas have given and Shastras has also given. He's also called Nila Megha Shama. So how is this? Shama and then again Nila Megha. Nila is blue and then Megha, like the darkish clouds. Some gray dark cloud is there. So that is also Krishna's color. So like that, so many. And in the Brahma Samhita, as Prabhupada says, that will come in the shloka, Venum Konantam Aravinda Dalayataksham. So in that, Aravinda Dalayataksham. So here also Krishna is being described in various forms. Barhavatamsam Asitambuda, Sundarangam, Asita Ambuda. Asita is again the cloud, and Ambuda is water bearing. Who is bearing the water? Ambuda. Ambu is water. Ambuda is water bearing, which is the cloud, and Asita. Asita Ambuda. So even that is that cloud form, which is again in that darkish color. So like this, Krishna is mentioned, and also it is also mentioned that Krishna's the effulgence of Krishna itself is when he wears that Vaidurya gem. That Vaidurya gem is also of the bluish, light bluish color. So because of that, his whole body reflection and the whole place becomes a bluish color. So like that, so many different acharyas and so many shastras explain about Krishna's his color and effulgence. And the shastras are giving so many explanations on this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you repeat the last point, Prabhuji? Because of what the body looks blue, Prabhuji?
He wears the Vaidurya gem.
Vaidurya. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Vaidurya gem, and many gems, even diamond for that matter, will have different hues. It can come in different colors. We have seen that. So like that, Vaidurya is one which is the topmost, and probably it's not available now in our world, but this the Vaidurya is there. In fact, in Melkote, the Lord comes once in a year, a procession, and in the Melkote, the Chalvanarayana Swami is having the mudi or the crown, and that crown has this Vajra and Vaidurya. It is said, and this it's called Vairmudi. So probably in the month of March, just before Gaur Purnima, the deity comes out on a procession, and in the evening it comes out, and that time the Lord, the Utsavamurti will be wearing this Vairmudi, this crown made out of those gems. In fact, This is actually today in Karnataka, it is kept in the Reserve Bank of India or in a very secure place. It is kept under lock and key. Only during that time, this wire mudi comes out. It is worn on the Lord, and then it goes back. So much of security will be there, because that the gems, what is contained in that crown, is something which is not found in today in Indian in our today material world. So that means this crown the gems have come directly from the spiritual world. So many scientists or so many gemologists or whoever it is, they have tried to ascertain what kind of gem this is, but they have failed. They have not been able to understand. So that shows that this is coming from the spiritual world. And after that, there is also a Rajamudi. So the Vairmudi will start say around 9 o'clock. Lord comes out from the temple in the night, and it goes on till 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And 3 o'clock, Rajamudi. The Rajamudi is again given by Krishnadevaraya. He gave one crown, and that crown also comes, and then finally he'll go back. The Lord will go back at 5 o'clock. So that time, these two can be seen by the public. Otherwise, it is not visible. And as I told, that these gems, just by looking at the gems, people, it is said that people will get purified. So it's wonderful. I mean, all devotees should make it a practice. I mean, they should try to go to this Melkote. Probably it happens in the month of March, and have a darshan of this two crowns. And especially when it is placed on the Lord, then probably it is the same Lord we'll be seeing. Lord in his own personal form, we can have his darshan and get his blessings. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the shloka number 14.
Hare Krishna. Anita Mataji, you read the shloka. Subharav Prabhuji, you can do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Lasat pankaja kinjalka pita kausheya vasasam Srivatsa vakshasam bhajat kaustubha mukta gandaram.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. His loins are covered by a shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast, he bears the mark of Srivatsa, a curl of white hair. The brilliant Kaustubha gem is suspended from his neck. The purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai. The exact color of the garment of the Supreme Lord is described as saffron yellow, just like the pollen of a lotus flower. The Kaustubha gem hanging on the chest is also described. His neck is beautifully decorated with jewels and pearls. The Lord is full in 6 opulences, one of which is wealth. He is very richly dressed with valuable jewels, which are not visible within the material world. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Very well. So what I discussed, what I was telling, I mean, we can see that in Prabhupada is also mentioned, he's very richly dressed with valuable jewels, which are not visible within this material world. The same, the Vairmudi, what I was talking about, that the devotees have found out that this gems is not available in this material world. Hare Krishna. So here the mention of the Lord's cloth, which is yellowish saffron, is there. He's wearing that, and which is actually the Pitambara. And then the Kaustubha gems are there. So many jewels, pearls, everything is bedecked with. I mean, that form you have to see. And
Can't hear Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think Prabhuji's net is little weak, so we'll have to wait.
Hare Krishna, we'll go to the 15th shloka.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, we couldn't hear anything. Your voice went blank. I think
Okay, okay.
that's the week.
Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you explain even Kaustubha gem, what it looks like and its color also?
Is the gem. Yeah, it is hanging from his neck. And then the Srivatsa is that white hair which is on his chest. So these are the what are the opulences that Lord has, how he looks like. And the Pitambara is the garment he is wearing. So that is being mentioned here.
Prabhuji, how does this Kaustubha gem look like? Which color?
I'm not sure which color, but it seems to be very, very
green, Prabhuji, green.
Yeah, something very unique.
Very green.
I'm not
It
sure
is
of the
green.
color. Actually, diamonds.
Kaustubha is supposed to be green,
Diamonds.
Prabhuji.
It could be, yeah. See, diamonds actually gives different colors. Diamond is one where we have seen that, and like if for the green is actually the what you call emerald. The red is actually the ruby. Yeah. So like this, various gems are there, and it comes with different color. And pearl is the muttu or the moti, so which is white. So like this, the different varieties are there, and some gems may have different. It can have different colors also. It can give out, emit like that. Very good.
Hare Krishna. Should we do the 15th verse,
Yes.
Prabhu? Yeah.
Yes.
Krishnamurti Prabhuji, you read the shloka. Divya Desai Mataji, you do the translation. And if nobody is there, I'll do the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam Prabhuji. Mattadvirepa kalaya paritam vanamalaya pararadhya haravalaya kiritangadanopuram.
Yeah.
Translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He also wears around his neck a garland of attractive sylvan flowers, and a swarm of bees intoxicated by its delicious fragrance hums about the garland. He is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, a crown, and pairs of armlets, bracelets, and anklets. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams.
Hare Krishna purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. From this description, it appears that the flower garland of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fresh. Actually, in Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky, there is nothing but freshness. Even the flowers picked from the trees and plants remain fresh. For everything in the spiritual sky retains its originality and does not fade. The fragrance of the flowers picked from the trees and made into garlands does not fade, for both the trees and the flowers are spiritual. When the flower is taken from the tree, it remains the same. It does not lose its aroma. The bees are equally attracted to the flowers, whether they are on the garland or on the tree. The significance of spirituality is that everything is eternal and is inexhaustible. Everything taken from everything remains everything, or as has been stated in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1 and 1 plus 1 equals 1. The bees hum around the fresh flowers, and their sweet sound is enjoyed by the Lord. The Lord's bangles, necklace, crown, and anklets are all bedecked with invaluable jewels. Since the jewels and pearls are spiritual, there is no material calculation of their value. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So again, further, it's mentioning about the spiritual world and how even the flowers and all this just remain so ever fresh. They never fade, and the aroma is also eternally it is available. So this is the significance of the spiritual world, where it is not exhausting. Everything, even if you take out everything from everything, still everything remains. If you take 1 minus 1 is also 1. 1 plus 1 is also 1. So like that, Prabhupada. This is the spiritual mathematics. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnam Udachate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vishishyate, which is mentioned in the Ishopanishad, the first invocation So it's mentioned that everything is Purna. Everything is Sampurna. So even if something is taken out of the Purna from the whole, it's still the whole remains, or maybe it will increase, but it will not go down. So here the mention of the Lord's jewels and what all the necklaces, bangles he's wearing is also mentioned here. And everything is spiritual, which is not having any material value. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So with this, we'll end today's session. If anyone has any clarifications and any realizations, they can speak out.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very
Haribol.
nice explanation of the entire thing. And devotees, anybody has any questions, please raise your hands.
Prabhuji, is it a description of Paramatma only, Prabhuji?
Yes. About Krishna in the Paramatma form.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ, ತಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದನ್ನ.
ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್.
ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಣನೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ವರ್ಣನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಧಾರ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಫಾರಂ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಧರಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ವಜ್ರ ವೈಢೂರ್ಯಗಳು, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಧಾರಗಳೇನು? ಯಾವುದರ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ?
So Prabhu is asking, what is the basis or what is the source of this description that Lord is wearing like this, Lord is having this form, so like that. So Prabhu, for your information, whatever is mentioned in this, because we are reading Bhagavatam, so Bhagavatam itself is the source. Bhagavatam is written by whom? By the Lord himself in the form of Vyasadeva. Correct? Vyasadeva, as a literal incarnation of Supreme Lord Krishna, has written this. So Lord himself is giving this information to us. So this is the scriptures or the mother. They are actually like how the mother gives the knowledge to the child. Who gives the first knowledge? First, who will teach? The mother will teach.
Yes.
So mother is the scripture. Mother is the real knowledge. And that is the real truth. Like father is he gives the mantra. So the spiritual master, guru, is the father for us. And mother is the scriptures. So because Lord himself is giving this. And of course, there are so many devotees who have seen the Lord. And they have explained, like Prahlad has seen, Dhruva Maharaj has seen. So many devotees have seen, have interacted with the Lord. So they are also giving in their explanations. Brahma himself has seen, and he gave in Brahma Samhita, so which I recited. Venam Kunantam Arvinda Dalayataaksham Barhatam Asitamada Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So because he saw and then he wrote. Correct? He is explaining. So like that, all these are the physical. Physically they have seen. Physically they have experienced these opulences with the Lord, and that is being explained. So if you ask what is the source is this itself.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. I understand, Savyas, because that Vasudeva, he himself the incarnation of Supreme Lord.
Correct.
So he has explained. So grateful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Meenakshi Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I always get confused between Jnana Mishra Bhakti and Karma Mishra Bhakti. Could you clarify that once more, Prabhuji? Am I audible, Mataji?
And here in this shloka,
Yes,
Kapil Dev is
Mataji.
empowered incarnation. He is explaining.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Prabhu, you could hear Meenakshi Mataji's question? Your net was down, I guess.
No.
Meenakshi Mataji, please repeat your question.
Yes, Mataji. Prabhuji, I always get confused between Jnana Mishra Bhakti and Karma Mishra Bhakti. Prabhuji, could you explain that once more?
Jnana Mishra and Karma Mishra, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hello. So that's what, Mataji. The Bhakti Yoga, what we are doing, if it is mixed with Jnana means the mental speculation, or reading too much into the scriptures and then trying to be analytical. If even by reading the Shastras also, people will get bewildered. Like, for example, we are talking about Krishna's color. We are talking about Krishna's, whatever, jewels he's wearing. But we'll try to compare it with some material thing. Oh, in material, this is not available. How it is available? Why it could be this color? Why not, Krishna? Because in our limited senses, if you say that black, Krishna is of blackish color or grayish color or a bluish color, how can he be, it is beyond our imagination that how can he be so attractive, correct? It's not a color which we like. We like Radharani, Shrimad Radharani's color of golden color, right? That is considered fair, right? Anything black or blue is not considered fair. But Shastras is telling that this is the color in which Krishna is, and then he is the most attractive. You got it? So if you are anything to do with the scriptures, and if you're trying to analyze it, and then trying to say, no, this is not correct, that is correct, I will try to search something else from some other scripture, and then keep on, speculating. This mental speculation is actually, which is shunned actually. The acharyas have not advised, and Prabhupada also mentioned that this jnana is not going to lead you anywhere, because you're not accepting what the Shastra is telling. You're trying to counteract, or trying to devise a new thing, or trying to question the Shastra. Of course, all because of our limited mind and a lot of ignorance. Some devotees try to do that, and they will continue to struggle. So that is a jnana mishra. When we are doing bhakti, but then we have so many doubts, we have so many questions, we have so many, no conclusion. We are not relaying what the facts of the Shastras are there. And then we try to, be in a doubtful position, and then we may lose the faith. So that is that, jnana mishra. And karma mishra bhakti is, of course, when you're doing all for your own, getting some material results, material benefits. To get a good house, good wife, or good opulence, and then work hard, and then you're doing chanting, you're doing all the aspects of our bhakti yoga, but you're in the back of the mind, you wanted to make sure that you have all the material possessions, you have all the material, name, fame, everything. So if you're doing that, it will be typically a karma mishra bhakti. So as Rupa Goswami has given, the golden shloka, anyabhilashita shunyam gnana karmadi anavrutam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. So that is the topmost form of bhakti, is what? Anyabhilashita shunyam, without having any extra additional desires, or extra attraction, getting opulences. Anyabhilashita shunyam, that should be zero. And then gnana karma adi, so many other ifs and buts, or this concept, that concept, this theory, that theory, this yoga, that yoga, all that you have to reject. Jnana karmadi anavritam. It should be bereft of that. Anukulyena krishnanu shilanam. So with very favorable mood, you have to serve Krishna. And anushilanam. Anushilanam means follow the footsteps of the previous acharyas. That is considered the purest form of bhakti, the topmost form of bhakti. And if anything you try to mix jnana or karma or ashtanga yoga, or demigod worship, or Shakti Devi, or some other aspect which is available today in abundance, if you try to mix and say that no, this is also there, that also is required, this also is required, and then try to do Krishna bhakti, then it will all become mixed up.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji. One doubt, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, karma mishra bhakti, you said, na Prabhuji, that if we go towards name, fame, and glory, it would be karma mishra bhakti. But of course, when we are in the initial stages, like neophyte devotees like us, we will always pray for things like, my child should perform well in the exam, or my husband's health should be okay. That is okay, na Prabhuji? That does not come under...
Initial stages it is required. We always do that, because we are more concerned about the body, our family. Yeah, this is something required, but this is all going to be material attachment. You cannot continue.
So can we
for
say that we are still in karma bhakti, Prabhuji?
Yeah, most of that's what we are.
Okay, got it, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Padma Mataji, please ask your question. Prabhuji, you have time, no? We have one more question from Prabhuji.
It's a short question, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, now all this explanation is about Paramatma, right? All this about wearing these jewels and everything.
In that case, Give me a boon that I should not have any material desire in my heart. Just remove from the core of my heart any material desire. So this is the highest form. Of course, we are still practice now. That's why we are called sadhakas. We are all doing sadhana bhakti by the sadhana. So a lot of time, effort is required, and then the contamination is still there. The vasanas are still there. The purification is still going on. So as we progress.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, I can ask my question now, Prabhuji. This is just a short question. Hello, Hare Krishna.
Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy. It might be.
I'll ask my question, Prabhuji, now.
Yeah.
Can I ask? Yeah, Prabhuji, now all this explanation in this text 14, 15, it's all about Paramatma, right? About the description, having these jewels and all that. Correct. So which means the Bhagavan form, this must be beyond, no? Beyond this. What more can be beyond? If he's having so many jewels and all these different types and so much explanation, then what can be Bhagavan form?
Bhagavan form is the serving him and interaction. You can have a personal association with the Lord in the Bhagavan form.
Yeah, but the description is more or less. Is the description more or less the same?
Yes.
Like
it's the same Lord. But even for the Siddhi, the yogi, he needs this, no? Otherwise, how he can concentrate? He needs this. He should know what is the form he is ultimately going to achieve. But the problem is, in this Paramatma realization, he is not serving. He's just sitting and concentrating, that's all.
Yes, Prabhu, that I understand.
Whereas in our case, Bhagavan realization, we actually interacting with the Lord. Like suppose you are keeping a deity in the house or in the temple, the first thing morning we'll wake him up, give him Mangal Bhog, we'll give him he would have actually been slept in the night, he will have a cot, correct? You wake him up, and then you bathe him, do Abhishekam, and then brush his teeth, you put new dress, remove the old dress, you feed him fruits, you feed him Rajbhog, and then you do all the worship. What is this? It's all to do with the service. Just like how we treat suppose you have a VIP in the home, how you treat him, or if you treat them, that is how we are treating the Lord in the personal form. So that is what Prabhupada said. When bhakti means, in simple English language, bhakti means devotion. No, that is a wrong understanding. Bhakti means devotional service. The service is important. If you have the service, then only it will become bhakti.
Yes, Prabhuji.
In the impersonal worship, the Brahman platform or in the Paramatma platform, there is no worship, there is no seva. Right?
Yes.
The personal form only you can do the seva. So that's the difference, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. When we do Hare Krishna chanting, are we worshipping Paramatma or Bhagavan?
Actually, when it comes to our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Veda Tattva and our Brahma Madhya Gaudiya, we are all in the Bhagavan realization. We all are treating Lord in the supreme personal form, and we all are doing the Bhagavan Sakshatkar. And in Bhagavan Sakshatkar, the Brahman and Paramatma is included. Right?
Hare Krishna. Prashanti Mataji, you can ask your question.
Yeah.
Is it
Hare
clear,
Krishna,
Prabhu? Bhagavan realization is the ultimate. Is it clear? Haribol? He asked the question. So.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, yeah.
Prabhuji, as you said, there are 24 forms. Are they also incarnations, Prabhuji? And what will be their importance? Because like Rama, Krishna, and we all know about these incarnations and their importance. And 24 forms, we never heard of it, Prabhuji. Just as the names we heard, but not what are the importance and are they incarnations? Can you please explain?
No, they are
Prabhuji?
not incarnations. They are just the forms of the Lord. Like Keshava, Madhava, Govinda, Narayana, Vishnu. All these are the forms of the Lord. And it may happen that we may chant Vamanayan Maha or Ramayan Maha, Rama or some names may be there. And it could also be an avatar. right? Narsimhaya Namaha. So it could also be an avatar. But these are the initial, the foremost 24 names of Krishna. And each one has got different forms. I mean, his form is recognized by the what he's holding in which hand, what he's holding, which paraphernalia he's holding among the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. So like that, the combinations, permutation combinations are there.
I mean, what is the difference, Prabhuji? Just only the form difference or any other? No,
Mainly,
I'm not
what the
asking
Shastra is giving is about the four paraphernalia, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, how he's holding. But there could be various other features also, like, his the dress, what he's wearing, or the style of the mukut, or the jewels, what he's wearing. So all those things also may be there. But what we are talking here is only of the what Shastra is giving is about the four paraphernalia.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And all these are Krishna's names only. Keshava and Madhava and Govinda and Vishnu and Matsudnu. All these we recite is all coming from the Krishna's names only, holy names. And each name has its own. Yeah.
Prabhuji, the Vaikuntha chart we can see all the forms with different, the way you explain, we can see in the chart. Carrying the lotus in the other hand, the chakra in the other hand. The different forms.
Yes, you are right. Correct. You are right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your time, Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is, if you have time, if I can ask a question.
Yeah, please.
Prabhu, my confusion always remains that while I am in very initial neophyte stage, that when we read Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti seems to be very simple, Krishna seems to be very approachable, Krishna seems to be very friendly and okay with most things. But when we study Bhagavatam, it goes into teaching us that it is impossible to reach Krishna, it is explained in a way. So how is it that, because ideally Bhagavatam is the explained story form of what Bhagavad Gita principles, how people lived on those principles. So whenever Bhagavatam study is happening, at least for me, I feel that I am not progressing and I'm doing nothing. I am nowhere. And when I read Bhagavad Gita, I feel, that at least I am in a neophyte stage. Prabhu, can you please throw some light on this? Hare Krishna.
Actually, see, Bhagavad Gita is there, but the principles are the same, Mataji. What is talking of the Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavad Gita also tells the same thing. If suppose you read 9th chapter, 12th chapter, it all talks about the same thing. Patram pushpam palam toyam, satatam kirtayen tomam, ejana paripasate. So it's manmana bhava mad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru. Like it is in a very, very simplistic form, but here the explanation is more. In Bhagavatam, the explanation is more. Again, the concept is the same. The Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, it's all trying us to how we can do loving devotional service, pure loving devotional service unto Krishna. So, of course, it's a more detailed explanation here in the Bhagavatam, but the concepts are the same, and the details are more. Whereas the principles are covered in Bhagavad Gita. In brief, like bullet points, but here it is in more of description and more of introspection, and you have to delve into more deeper in the
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This was just my realization, Prabhu, that whenever I read Bhagavad Gita, I feel that at least I have begun and I am at a neophyte stage. But when I read Bhagavatam, it seems like there is no way for me. How will I ever do all this?
It looks very, more detailed and more heavy. But that is the fact. The fact is that, we are actually analyzing each and every part and, understanding.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji's internet is not very. Anybody has any more questions? Otherwise, when Prabhuji
the clarity
comes,
also will come. Of course,
Hare
attending
Krishna,
classes.
Prabhu, your voice went away in between. Nonetheless, I know, Prabhuji, I have to dive deeper also and follow what Bhagavatam also says. I mean, I know the principles are the same, but Bhagavatam looks much difficult to follow than Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
I don't know, but actually it's
I understood, Prabhuji, what you're saying, but yeah, for me, it is like I'm too much into, I mean, if there are categories in neophyte, then probably I am in the very initial stage. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, all of us are there only, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, add me also. Add me also.
Yes, Mataji.
So
yeah,
the
but
crux
the
of the
more we
everything is,
associate,
Same board.
that's what, in my opinion, the more we associate with the devotees and then do that the process bhakti yoga, then it will become easier, to
yes,
realize.
Prabhu. And this
Yeah.
do the study of Bhagavatam every day, 9:30 really helps us, and we feel
Yes,
that
yes,
we are
yes.
anchored somewhere.
Yes, yes, that is
Otherwise,
right.
it's like unanchored boat which goes in a
Correct,
mad
correct,
ocean
correct.
where you don't know where you're going.
Yes,
So
yes, that is right.
thank you so much for your
Yeah.
association,
Actually,
Prabhu.
now if you have to really advance, we have to look at what we are doing now in 1 hour, what we do in the next 23 hours.
Correct, Prabhuji. Correct,
That difference. If
Yes, Prabhuji.
if you are getting diverted in the next 23 hours, then you cannot come back to this 1 hour. This 1 hour is like nectar.
Yes, Prabhuji.
But if somewhere if you're getting diverted, then we'll have those kinds of an issue. Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Can we
Yeah.
end the class with prayers, Prabhu?
Yes, yeah.
Vancha
Vanchakalpatarupam
kalpatarubhya
sindhubhyam.
Kripa sindhu
Patitanam
patitanam
Vaishnavebhyo
pavanebhyo
Namaः.
Ananta
Lord,
Koti
make
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnava
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada ki
Prabhupada
jai.
ki
Jai.
Pranams,
Srimad
Prabhu.
Bhagavatam
Thank you
ki
so
jai.
much.
Prabhuji,
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
so
Thank you,
much.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna to all
Hare
devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah, Jai.
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
Namaste.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.